Emma Martinez sat in the back seat of her mother's car and stared out the window. Her stomach felt tight with worry. Today was her first day at Lincoln High School, and she was terrified. She had changed schools 3 times in the past 2 years, and each time it got harder. Each time she hoped things would be different. Each time she was wrong. Her twin sister Sophia sat next to her. Sophia looked exactly like Emma. They had the same long dark hair, the same brown eyes, and the same small nose. But there was one big difference. Emma used a wheelchair and Sophia did not. 3 years ago, Emma was in a car accident. The doctor said she would never walk again. Her life changed completely that day. "It's going to be fine," Sophia said, reaching over to squeeze Emma's hand. "This school is bigger. More people. That means more chances to find good friends." Emma wanted to believe her sister, but doubt filled her mind. At her last school, kids called her names. They made jokes about her wheelchair. Some students pretended she was invisible. Others stared at her like she was from another planet. The worst part was feeling alone in a crowded room. Their mother pulled into the school parking lot. Lincoln High School was huge. The building was 3 stories tall with big windows and a wide entrance. Students walked in groups, laughing and talking. Some carried coffee cups. Others had backpacks covered in pins and patches. Everyone seemed to know where they belonged. "Remember," their mother said, turning around in her seat, "if you need anything, call me. I can be here in 10 minutes. Mom will be okay," Sophia said confidently. But Emma noticed her sister's hand was gripping the door handle tightly. Sophia was nervous too, even if she tried to hide it. They got out of the car. Sophia helped Emma get her wheelchair from the trunk. Emma transferred into it smoothly. She had done this 1,000 times. Her wheelchair was electric, which meant she could move it with a small joystick. It gave her independence, but it also made her different. And being different in high school was dangerous. The main entrance had a ramp, which was good. At her last school, the ramp was in the back near the garbage bins. Emma had to go around the entire building just to get inside. It made her late to class every morning. But Lincoln High School put the ramp right in front next to the stairs. It was a small thing, but it made Emma feel slightly better. Inside, the hallways were packed with students. Lockers slammed. Voices echoed off the walls. Someone's phone was playing music. A group of boys pushed past, not watching where they were going. Emma moved her wheelchair carefully, trying to avoid bumping into anyone. Sophia stayed close beside her. "The office is this way," she said, pointing down the main hallway. They found the office easily. A woman with gray hair and kind eyes sat behind the desk. Her name tag said Mrs. Patterson. "You must be the Martinez twins," Mrs. Patterson said with a warm smile. "Welcome to Lincoln High. I'm the school secretary. Mr. Reynolds, our counselor, is waiting for you." A tall man with glasses came out of a side office. He wore a blue tie and carried a folder. "Emma and Sophia, great to meet you. I'm Mr. Reynolds. I'll be helping you both get settled today." Mr. Reynolds was friendly. He showed them their schedules and explained where their classes were located. He pointed out the elevator, which Emma would need to reach the 2nd floor. He also told them about the school's clubs and activities. "Emma, I made sure all your classes are accessible," Mr. Reynolds said. "If you have any problems at all, you come find me." "Okay," Emma nodded. People always said nice things on the first day. She wondered how long it would last. "I'll take Emma to her first class," Mr. Reynolds continued. "Sophia, yours is in the opposite direction. Will you be all right finding it?" Sophia looked at Emma. Their eyes met. Emma could see the worry in her sister's face. Sophia wanted to stay with her, to protect her. But Emma knew she had to do this alone. She couldn't have her sister following her around all day. "I'll be fine," Emma said quietly. "Go ahead, Sophia." Sophia hesitated. Then she leaned down and whispered in Emma's ear. "If anyone gives you trouble, you text me. I don't care if I'm in the middle of a test. I'll come find you," Emma smiled. Her sister was fierce when it came to protecting her. Sometimes too fierce. "I know. I love you." "Love you too." Sophia walked away, looking back 3 times before she disappeared around a corner. Mr. Reynolds led Emma through the hallways. They took the elevator to the 2nd floor. Emma's first class was English with Mrs. Walker. When they reached the classroom, Mr. Reynolds knocked on the door. Mrs. Walker was a woman in her 50s with short red hair. She smiled when she saw Emma. "Class, we have a new student joining us today. This is Emma Martinez." 20 pairs of eyes turned to look at Emma. Some students smiled. Others stared at her wheelchair. A few whispered to each other. Emma's face felt hot. She hated being the center of attention. "Emma, you can sit right here by the window," Mrs. Walker said, pointing to an empty spot in the second row. Emma moved her wheelchair to the desk. The classroom was arranged in rows, and there was just enough space for her to fit. She positioned herself and pulled out her notebook. Around her, students returned to their conversations. A girl with blonde hair in the next row smiled at her. "I'm Hannah," the girl whispered. "If you need any help finding your classes, let me know." "Thank you," Emma said. Her heart felt a little lighter. Maybe this school would be different. The class began. Mrs. Walker talked about the book they were reading. Emma tried to focus, but her mind wandered. She kept thinking about the rest of the day. 6 more classes to get through. A whole cafeteria full of students at lunch. She took a deep breath and told herself to stay calm. When the bell rang, Emma packed up her things. Hannah waved goodbye. Emma checked her schedule. Her next class was history on the first floor. She would need to take the elevator again. The hallway was chaos. Students poured out of classrooms all at once. Everyone was in a hurry to get to their next class before the late bell rang. Emma moved her wheelchair carefully, trying to navigate through the crowd. People walked around her, but some weren't paying attention. That's when she saw them. 3 students were walking down the middle of the hallway like they owned it. 2 boys and 1 girl. The taller boy had blonde hair and wore a varsity jacket. He was laughing loudly at something. The girl had perfect makeup and carried an expensive designer bag. The other boy was shorter but walked with the same confidence. They were clearly popular kids. Emma tried to move to the side to let them pass, but the hallway was too crowded. There wasn't enough room. The tall boy in the varsity jacket wasn't watching where he was going. He was looking back at his friends, still laughing. He walked straight into Emma's wheelchair. The impact wasn't hard, but it made her chair tilt slightly to one side. Emma gasped and grabbed the armrest to steady herself. The boy stumbled and caught himself. He looked down at Emma's wheelchair like it was a piece of trash on the ground. "Watch where you're going," he said sharply. Emma's mouth dropped open. He had run into her, not the other way around. "I'm sorry, Maybe you should stay out of the way," the girl said, looking at Emma with disgust. "This hallway is crowded enough without obstacles." The shorter boy laughed. They started to walk away like nothing happened. Emma felt her face burn with embarrassment. Students around them had stopped to watch. Some looked uncomfortable. Others pretended not to notice. No one said anything. No one stood up for her. "Are you okay?" a voice asked. Emma looked up. A young male teacher with dark hair and a concerned expression stood next to her. His name tag said Mr. Chen. "I'm fine," Emma said quietly, though she wasn't fine at all. She felt humiliated. "Those students shouldn't have spoken to you that way," Mr. Chen said. "Do you want me to report them?" Emma shook her head quickly. "No, please don't. I don't want to cause trouble. It's my first day." Mr. Chen looked like he wanted to argue, but he nodded. "All right. But if anything like that happens again, you come find me. I'm in room 204. "Thank you," Emma said. She continued to her history class, but the incident stayed with her. Those 3 students had been so cruel without even trying. What would they do if they actually wanted to hurt her? Down the hallway, Sophia was walking to her second period class. She had been thinking about Emma all morning, hoping her sister was doing okay. As she turned a corner, she saw something that made her stop in her tracks. 3 students were laughing together near a water fountain. The tall boy was wearing a varsity jacket. The girl was checking her makeup in a small mirror. The shorter boy was scrolling on his phone. Sophia had never seen them before, but something about the way they carried themselves bothered her. Then she heard the girl say something that made her blood run cold. "Did you see that wheelchair girl in the hallway? She was completely in the way," the tall boy laughed. "Yeah, she needs to learn how to navigate. This isn't the Special Olympics," the shorter boy grinned. "Maybe she'll drop out after a few days. People like her usually do." They laughed together and walked away. Sophia stood frozen, her hands curled into fists. She wanted to run after them and scream. She wanted to make them apologize. But she took a deep breath and forced herself to stay calm. Emma had asked her not to make a scene. Emma wanted to handle things on her own. But Sophia made a mental note of their faces. The tall blonde boy. By lunchtime, Emma was starting to feel a little bit better about Lincoln High School. Her history teacher had been nice. In her third period math class, a boy named David had offered to be her study partner. A few students had smiled at her in the hallways. Maybe, just maybe, this school would be different from the others. Emma rolled her wheelchair into the cafeteria and looked around. The room was enormous. There must have been 300 students eating lunch. Round tables filled the space. The noise was overwhelming. Conversations, laughter, the clatter of trays and silverware all mixed together. She got in line for food. The lunch lady gave her a tray with a sandwich, an apple, and a small carton of milk. Emma balanced the tray on her lap and moved away from the lunch line. Now came the hard part, finding somewhere to sit. Most tables were already full. Emma scanned the room, looking for an empty seat. She spotted a table near the windows where two girls were sitting. They looked friendly. Emma took a deep breath and rolled over to them. "Is this seat taken?" she asked. One of the girls, who had curly red hair, smiled. "No, go ahead. I'm Jessica, and this is my friend Amy. I'm Emma. It's my first day." "We've figured," Amy said with a kind smile. "Don't worry, you'll get used to this place. The first week is always the hardest." Emma sat with them and started eating her sandwich. Jessica and Amy talked about their classes and teachers. They asked Emma where she was from and what she liked to do. For the first time all day, Emma felt like she might actually make friends at this school. She started to relax. That's when she heard a familiar voice behind her. Look who it is. The hallway obstacle. Emma's whole body tensed. She turned her wheelchair slightly and saw the three students from earlier. The tall blonde boy in the varsity jacket stood with his arms crossed. The girl with the designer bag smirked. The shorter boy grinned like this was all a big joke. "We meet again," the tall boy said. "What's your name?" "I want to know who keeps blocking the hallways." Emma's throat felt tight. She wanted to say something strong, something brave, but the words wouldn't come out. She just stared at them. "Her name is Emma," Jessica said firmly, "and she wasn't blocking anything." "You ran into her?" The girl laughed. "Oh, she has a friend." "How cute." "Leave her alone," Amy added. "She's new." "Just go away." The tall boy leaned against the table. "I'm Jake, by the way, star quarterback of the football team. This is Madison, our class president, and that's Tyler. His uncle is the principal. We're kind of important around here." Madison flipped her hair. "What Jake means is that we run this school, and we don't appreciate people who can't keep up." Emma felt her eyes start to burn with tears. She wouldn't cry. She refused to cry in front of these people. "What's wrong?" Tyler said, his voice mocking. "Cat got your tongue? Or does the wheelchair come with a mute button?" Jake and Madison laughed. Emma wanted to disappear. She wanted to roll out of the cafeteria and never come back. But she was frozen in place. "That's not funny," Jessica said angrily. "You're being cruel for no reason." "We're just having fun," Madison said, examining her nails like she was bored. "It's not our fault if people can't take a joke." Emma finally found her voice. "Please, just leave me alone." "Oh, she speaks," Jake said. "Look, wheelchair girl, let me give you some advice. This cafeteria is crowded. Your chair takes up a lot of space. Maybe you should eat lunch somewhere else, like the library, or better yet at home." "Yeah," Tyler added. "We wouldn't want you to get in anyone's way. You know, for your own safety." The threat was clear. Emma's hands trembled. This was worse than her old school. At least there, people ignored her. These three were actively trying to hurt her. Madison looked down at Emma's wheelchair. "Nice wheels. Did you get those at a garage sale?" "Actually, it looks expensive," Jake said. "Probably costs more than my car. Must be nice getting special treatment everywhere you go." "I don't get special treatment," Emma said quietly. "I just want to be left alone." "Then maybe don't sit in the middle of the cafeteria," Madison said coldly. Jessica stood up. "You need to stop. This is bullying and it's not okay." Jake looked at Jessica with amusement. "Are you going to report us?" "Go ahead, my coach loves me. Madison is untouchable because she's class president. And Tyler's uncle is the principal. Good luck with that." Amy pulled out her phone. "I'm recording this. Everything you're saying is being recorded right now." Tyler moved fast. He grabbed Amy's phone and looked at it. Then he laughed. "You're not recording anything. Your camera isn't even on." He tossed the phone back to her. "Nice try, though." The three bullies laughed together. Emma wished the floor would open up and swallow her. She had never felt so small in her entire life. "Anyway, we're bored now," Madison said. "But remember what we said, Emma. This cafeteria is for people who belong here." Think about that. They started to walk away. Emma thought it was over. She thought they would just leave. But then Tyler did something that changed everything. As he walked past Emma's wheelchair, he deliberately kicked the footrest. Hard. The sudden movement caused Emma to lurch forward. But that wasn't enough for him. As he passed behind her wheelchair, Tyler gave it a hard shove from behind. Emma's wheelchair tipped forward. She tried to grab onto something, anything, but there was nothing to hold. She fell out of her chair and crashed onto the cafeteria floor. Her tray went flying. Food splattered everywhere. The milk carton exploded, sending white liquid across the floor. The entire cafeteria went silent. 300 students stopped eating, stopped talking, stopped moving. Everyone stared at Emma lying on the floor. Emma felt pain in her shoulder where she had hit the ground. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional pain. Tears streamed down her face. She couldn't stop them. She had never been so humiliated in her entire life. Jake, Madison, and Tyler stood there for a moment. Jake looked slightly uncomfortable, like maybe he hadn't expected Tyler to go that far. But then Madison whispered something to him and they all quickly walked away, disappearing into the crowd of students. Emma! Jessica dropped to her knees beside her. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Amy was already flagging down a teacher. Someone help! We need help over here. Mr. Chen, the teacher who had helped Emma in the hallway that morning, came running over. His face was filled with anger and concern. What happened? Who did this? Emma couldn't speak. She just cried. The tears wouldn't stop. She was embarrassed, hurt, and completely broken. This was supposed to be a fresh start. This was supposed to be different. Other students started to gather around. Some looked concerned. Others pulled out their phones to record. A few just stared like Emma was some kind of show. Everyone back up, Mr. Chen said firmly. Give her space. And put those phones away right now. He knelt beside Emma. Emma, I'm going to help you sit up, okay? Tell me if anything hurts. Emma nodded. Mr. Chen carefully helped her into a sitting position. Her shoulder ached, but nothing felt broken. Physically, she would be fine. Emotionally, she didn't know if she would ever recover from this. That's when Sophia appeared. Sophia had been standing in the lunch line when she heard the crash. She turned around and saw a crowd gathered near the windows. Something made her push through the crowd. Some instinct told her that Emma was in trouble. When she broke through the circle of students, she saw her twin sister on the floor crying. She saw the spilled food. She saw the overturned wheelchair. And she understood immediately what had happened. Sophia's face went completely pale. Then the color rushed back, turning her cheeks bright red with rage. Her hands clenched into fists so tight that her nails dug into her palms. She wanted to scream. She wanted to hit something. She wanted to find whoever did this and make them pay. But she didn't do any of those things. Instead, Sophia took a deep breath and walked calmly over to her sister. She knelt down beside Emma and put her arms around her. I'm here, Sophia whispered. I've got you. You're safe now. Emma buried her face in her sister's shoulder and cried harder. All the fear, all the pain, all the humiliation came pouring out. Mr. Chen stood up. I'm taking Emma to the nurse's office. Sophia, can you help me get her back in her wheelchair? Yes, Sophia said quietly. But her voice was different. It was cold and controlled. Anyone who knew Sophia well would recognize that tone. It meant she was furious. Together, Sophia and Mr. Chen lifted Emma back into her wheelchair. Sophia picked up Emma's backpack and put it on her lap. Mr. Chen led them out of the cafeteria. As they left, Sophia looked back at the crowd of students. She scanned their faces, looking for 3 specific people. She saw Jake near the exit, trying to blend in with other students. She saw Madison pretending to comfort a friend, acting like she hadn't been involved. She saw Tyler laughing with some boys by the vending machines. Sophia memorized their faces. She burned them into her memory. She would never forget what they looked like. They reached the nurse's office. The school nurse, Mrs. Lopez, immediately ushered Emma inside. She checked Emma's shoulder and arms for injuries. She gave her an ice pack and a cup of water. She spoke in a soft, gentle voice, trying to calm Emma down. Is there anyone we should call? Mrs. Lopez asked. Our mom, Emma said through her tears. I want to go home. I can't stay here. Please, I just want to go home. Sophia's heart broke. Her sister had been so hopeful this morning. Emma had wanted this fresh start so badly. Sophia's first stop was the main office. She walked in with confidence like she belonged there. Mrs. Patterson, the school secretary, looked up from her computer. Can I help you, dear? Mrs. Patterson asked. Yes, I'm Sofia Martinez. I'm new here, and I'm really interested in joining some clubs. I was wondering if you could help me find out what activities are available. Mrs. Patterson smiled warmly. Of course. That's wonderful that you want to get involved. Let me get you a list. While Mrs. Patterson searched for the club information, Sophia noticed a student aide sitting at a desk in the corner. The girl looked about 16 with glasses and brown hair pulled into a ponytail. She was organizing papers and occasionally typing on the computer. Is that student aide position hard to get? Sophia asked casually. I'd love to help out in the office. The student aide looked up and smiled. Not really, I'm Melissa, by the way. You just have to apply and have good grades. That's so cool, Sophia said, moving closer to Melissa's desk. What kind of stuff do you do? Melissa seemed happy to have someone interested in her work. Mostly filing, answering phones, helping teachers with copies. Sometimes I help update student schedules in the system. Sophia's mind raced. That sounds interesting. Do you know most of the students' schedules then? Pretty much, Melissa said. I've been doing this for 2 years. I know where everyone is during each period. Sophia pulled out her phone and showed Melissa a photo she had secretly taken in the cafeteria. It showed Jake, Madison, and Tyler together. Do you know these three? I saw them around and was wondering what clubs they're in. I want to join something fun. Melissa looked at the photo and rolled her eyes. Oh, those three. Yeah, everyone knows them. That's Jake Morrison, the quarterback, Madison Wells, the class president, and Tyler Grant, the principal's nephew. They think they run the school. They seem popular, Sophia said carefully. What classes do they have? Melissa leaned in, lowering her voice. You don't want to hang out with them. They're not nice people, especially Madison. She acts all perfect, but she's really mean. Really? But she's class president. Doesn't that mean she's supposed to be a good person? Melissa laughed bitterly. You'd think so. But between you and me, I've heard some things. She's not as perfect as everyone thinks. Like what? Sophia asked, genuinely curious. Melissa hesitated. Then she seemed to decide that Sophia was trustworthy. Well, I shouldn't gossip, but I've seen her in here getting papers printed for student government, her speeches and stuff. And I noticed something weird. One time I was bored and Googled a phrase from one of her speeches. You know what I found? What? The exact same speech, word for word, on some website for student council ideas. She didn't write it herself. She copied it. Sophia's heart started beating faster. This was exactly the kind of information she needed. Are you sure? Positive. I even checked 2 more speeches after that. Both of them were copied from websites. She's been plagiarizing everything. That's crazy, Sophia said, acting shocked. Does anyone else know? I never told anyone. It felt like tattling. But honestly, after seeing how she treats people, I don't feel bad about telling you. Mrs. Patterson returned with a list of clubs. Here you go, Sophia. These are all the clubs and activities we offer. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much, Sophia said, taking the paper. She turned to Melissa. Thanks for talking to me. Maybe I'll see you around. Sure, Melissa said with a smile. And seriously, stay away from those 3. They're trouble. Sophia left the office with valuable information. Madison was plagiarizing her speeches. That was strike 1, but Sophia needed to find dirt on all 3 of them. She checked her phone. 12:54. She had 23 minutes left. Her next stop was the library. Sophia found a computer in the back corner where she could work without being disturbed. She created a fake social media account using a generated email address. Then she started searching for Jake Morrison, Madison Wells, and Tyler Grant. She found their profiles easily. They all had public accounts with hundreds of posts. Sophia started scrolling through Madison's page first. Most of it was boring. Selfies, pictures with friends, posts about school events. But then Sophia noticed something in the tagged photos. Madison had been tagged in a photo from 3 months ago. It was from a student government meeting. The photo showed Madison standing at a podium giving a speech. The caption said, "Madison killing it with her amazing speech about school spirit. Sophia opened a new tab and started searching. She typed in phrases from the speech visible in other photos. After a few tries, she found what she was looking for. A website called studentcouncilspeeches.com had the exact same speech. Every single word was identical. Sophia kept searching. She found 2 more speeches that Madison had given, both posted on the school's website. She found both of them on different online resources. Madison had been stealing speeches for months, maybe even years. Sophia took screenshots of everything: the original online speeches, Madison's versions from the school website, the dates. The proof was undeniable. Next, she moved on to Jake Morrison. His social media was full of football posts, pictures of him at games, at practice, with his team. Sophia scrolled through his photos but didn't find anything useful. Then she looked at his friends list. One name caught her attention: Brittany Chen. The profile picture showed a pretty girl with long black hair. Sophia clicked on her profile and saw something interesting: a post from 2 weeks ago. When you realize you wasted a year on a fake person. Never again. Sophia had a hunch. She sent Brittany a direct message from her fake account. "Hey, I noticed your post about fake people. I go to Lincoln High too. Is it about someone at our school?" She didn't expect a response right away, but surprisingly, Brittany replied within 2 minutes. "Yeah. Why? Do you know Jake Morrison?" Sophia's fingers flew across the keyboard. "I know of him. He seems sketchy. What did he do?" "He's a cheater, in every way possible. He cheated on me with 3 different girls while we were dating, but he also cheats on tests. I have proof." Sophia's heart raced. "Seriously? What kind of proof?" "Text messages. He literally asked me to take pictures of test answers for him. I was stupid and did it because I thought I loved him. But I saved all the messages. I was too scared to report him because he's popular and I'm not. No one would believe me. Would you be willing to share those messages with someone who could do something about it?" Sophia typed. "I can stay anonymous if you want. Jake hurt someone I care about today. He needs to face consequences." There was a pause. Then Brittany responded, "Yes, I've wanted to for weeks but didn't know how. I'll send you screenshots right now." Within minutes, Sophia's fake email account was filled with screenshots, text messages showing Jake asking for test answers, photos of test papers, conversations about which teachers were easy to fool. The evidence was overwhelming. "Thank you," Sophia typed. "You're helping more than you know." "Good. He deserves whatever happens to him," Brittany replied. Sophia logged out and checked the time. 1:06. She had 11 minutes left. She still needed something on Tyler. She ran through what she knew about him. Principal's nephew, shorter than Jake. He had been the one who physically pushed Emma's wheelchair. He was the most violent of the 3. Then Sophia remembered something. That morning, before school started, she had seen someone vaping in the parking lot. She hadn't paid much attention at the time. But now, thinking back, she tried to remember what the person looked like. Shorter, male. About Tyler's build. Sophia left the library and headed to the school's main security office. There was a security guard sitting at a desk, watching multiple screens showing camera feeds from around the school. "Excuse me," Sophia said politely. "I'm new here and I'm kind of worried about safety. Are there cameras everywhere on campus?" The security guard, an older man with gray hair, looked up. "We have pretty good coverage. Hallways, entrances, parking lots, cafeteria." "Why? Did something happen?" "No. I'd just like to know I'm safe. My last school had some problems," Sophia said. It wasn't entirely a lie. "Well, you're safe here. We monitor everything," the guard said proudly. "The only spots we don't cover are the bathrooms, obviously, and that corner of the parking lot by the dumpsters. The camera there has been broken for a month. We're waiting for it to be fixed." "That's good to know," Sophia said. "Thanks for making us feel safe." She left the security office with a plan forming in her mind. Tyler had been vaping in the parking lot that morning. If he was smart, he would have done it in the blind spot by the dumpsters. But finding proof of past vaping wouldn't help her now. Then Sophia had another idea. She went back to the cafeteria. Lunch was ending, and students were clearing their trays. Sophia found Jessica and Amy sitting at their original table. "Are you Emma's sister?" Jessica asked immediately. "Yes." "Thank you for trying to help her," Sophia said. "Those three are horrible," Amy said angrily. "They should be expelled." "They will be punished," Sophia said calmly. "But I need your help. Were you two recording what happened? Do you have any video or photos?" Jessica shook her head. Amy tried to record, but Tyler caught her before she could start. "But other people were recording," Amy said. "After Emma fell, I saw at least 5 people with their phones out. Some of them were definitely recording." Sophia's eyes lit up. "Do you know who?" Sophia and Emma made their way to the principal's office. Sophia walked beside her sister's wheelchair, her face calm but her heart racing. She didn't know what to expect. Had the principal seen her report already? Was she in trouble for sending anonymous emails? Or was this about something else entirely? When they arrived at the office, Mrs. Patterson gave them a sympathetic look. "Principal Grant will see you in a moment. Please have a seat." Emma gripped the armrests of her wheelchair nervously. Sophia reached over and squeezed her sister's hand. "It's okay," she whispered. "Whatever happens, we're in this together." The door to the principal's office opened. A tall man with gray hair and a stern expression stood in the doorway. This was Principal Grant, Tyler's uncle. Sophia studied his face carefully, trying to read his mood. "Girls, please come in," he said. His voice was hard to read. Not angry, but not friendly either. They went into his office. It was a large room with wood furniture, certificates on the walls, and a big desk covered in papers. Principal Grant sat down behind his desk and gestured for them to sit across from him. "First, let me say how sorry I am about what happened to you today, Emma," Principal Grant began. "I understand there was an incident in the cafeteria. Can you tell me what happened?" Emma looked at Sophia, uncertain. Sophia gave her an encouraging nod. "I was eating lunch with 2 girls I just met," Emma said quietly. 3 students came over. They started making fun of me and my wheelchair. They told me I shouldn't sit in the cafeteria because I take up too much space. Then, when they were leaving, one of them pushed my wheelchair from behind. I fell out and hit the floor. Principal Grant wrote notes as Emma spoke. "Do you know the names of these 3 students?" "Jake Morrison, Madison Wells, and Tyler Grant," Emma said. She hesitated before adding, "I know Tyler is your nephew, sir." Principal Grant's expression didn't change, but Sophia saw something flicker in his eyes. "Yes, Tyler is my nephew. That doesn't change anything. If he was involved in hurting you, he will face the same consequences as any other student." Sophia was surprised. She had expected him to defend Tyler immediately. "Mr. Grant, I need to tell you something," Sophia said. "I sent some emails this afternoon. Anonymous emails. About what happened to Emma and about other things I discovered." Principal Grant leaned back in his chair. "I know. I received one of those emails about 20 minutes ago. So did the superintendent, the school board, and several other people. You've been busy." Sophia felt her stomach drop. "Am I in trouble?" "That depends," Principal Grant said. "Is everything in that report true? Because if you sent false information about students, that's a serious problem." "Everything is true," Sophia said firmly. "I have proof of all of it. Madison's plagiarized speeches are online. You can verify them yourself. Jake's ex-girlfriend has text messages showing he cheated. And there's video of Tyler pushing Emma's wheelchair." "I've already started verifying the information," Principal Grant said. "The video was shared on social media, so I've seen it. I've also spoken with Mr. Chen, who witnessed the cafeteria incident. As for the other allegations, I'll be investigating them thoroughly. So what happens now?" Emma asked. Principal Grant sighed. He suddenly looked very tired. "Emma, Sophia, I need you to understand something. I've been principal at this school for 15 years. I've seen a lot of problems, dealt with a lot of difficult situations, but I have never had a case quite like this. 3 students, all with significant positions in this school, all accused of serious violations on the same day." He paused and looked directly at Emma. "I also need you to know that Tyler is my nephew, but he is not my son. I love him, but I will not protect him if he did what you say he did. Family doesn't excuse cruelty." Sophia felt a small amount of respect for Principal Grant. He was being fair, even when it involved his own family. "Here's what's going to happen," Principal Grant continued. "Jake, Madison, and Tyler have already been called to the office. They're in separate rooms right now waiting to meet with me. I will interview each of them individually. I will review all the evidence, and then I will make decisions about their consequences. Will they be expelled? Sophia asked. I can't tell you that yet. The consequences will depend on what I find during my investigation, but I can promise you this. If the allegations are true, there will be serious consequences. No one in this school is above the rules. There was a knock on the door. Mrs. Patterson poked her head in. Sir, the football coach is here. He says it's urgent. Principal Grant nodded. Send him in. A muscular man in his 50s walked into the office. He wore a Lincoln High football jacket and looked very unhappy. This was Coach Davidson. Grant, we need to talk about Jake Morrison, Coach Davidson said. Then he noticed Emma and Sophia. Sorry, I didn't know you were in a meeting. It's all right. This concerns them. What about Jake? Coach Davidson held up his phone. I received an email with evidence that Jake has been cheating on tests. Text messages, photos, the whole thing. I've been looking into it for the past 15 minutes. I called 3 of his teachers. 2 of them confirmed they suspected Jake of cheating but didn't have proof. Now we have proof. What does this mean for the football team? Principal Grant asked. If this is true, Jake is off the team. Immediately. He's ineligible to play. We have academic integrity rules. I don't care if he's our star quarterback. I care about running a program that teaches young men to be honest and work hard. Jake violated that. Sophia felt a surge of satisfaction. Jake's status as a football star wouldn't protect him anymore. I'll add this to my investigation, Principal Grant said. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Coach. Coach Davidson nodded and left the office. As soon as the door closed, there was another knock. This time it was a woman in her 40s wearing a business suit. Principal Grant, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to speak with you about Madison Wells, the woman said. Ms. Harper, Principal Grant said. Come in, this is Emma and Sophia Martinez. Girls, this is Ms. Harper, our student government advisor. Ms. Harper looked upset. I received an email today claiming that Madison has been plagiarizing her speeches. I didn't want to believe it, so I spent my free period checking. I compared 3 of Madison's speeches to sources online. She paused, her voice full of disappointment. They're identical. Every word. Madison didn't write any of her own speeches. Principal Grant closed his eyes briefly as if the news physically pained him. Are you certain? Completely certain. I have the proof right here. Ms. Harper held up a folder full of papers. As the student government advisor, I have to recommend that Madison be removed from her position as class president. Plagiarism is completely unacceptable, especially for a student leader. I agree, Principal Grant said. We'll address this in her meeting. Ms. Harper left and the office fell silent. Principal Grant looked at Sophia with an expression that was hard to read. It wasn't quite admiration, but it was something close. You're very thorough, he said. 30 minutes. That's what your sister told the nurse. You collected all this evidence in just 30 minutes. I was motivated, Sophia said simply. Clearly. Principal Grant stood up. Girls, I need you to wait in the outer office while I conduct these meetings. This is going to take a while. Mrs. Patterson will make sure you're comfortable. Emma and Sophia went back to the outer office. Mrs. Patterson gave them bottled water and some cookies she kept in her desk. You girls are handling this very maturely, she said kindly. Over the next 2 hours, Sophia and Emma watched as people came and went from Principal Grant's office. First, Jake was called in. He walked past them without making eye contact. He was in there for 30 minutes. When he came out, his face was red and he looked angry. Coach Davidson was waiting for him in the hallway. My office. Now, Coach Davidson said firmly. They walked away together. Next was Madison. She walked into the office looking confident and perfect as always. But when she came out 45 minutes later, she was crying. Her makeup was ruined, mascara running down her cheeks. Ms. Harper was with her and they headed toward the student government office. Finally, Tyler was called in. He walked past Emma and Sophia with a smirk on his face. Nice try, he muttered. My uncle will fix this. But when Tyler came out an hour later, the smirk was gone. He looked shocked, like he couldn't believe what had just happened. Principal Grant came out with him. Mrs. Patterson called Tyler's parents. He's suspended for 1 week starting immediately. They need to pick him up now. Tyler's face went pale. But Uncle Mark, I'm not your uncle right now. I'm your principal. And you pushed a student in a wheelchair. You hurt her deliberately. There's video proof. You're suspended. End of discussion. Tyler tried to argue, but Principal Grant held up his hand. If you say one more word, I'll make it 2 weeks. Go sit in that chair and wait for your parents. Tyler sat down looking stunned. He had truly believed his uncle would protect him. Principal Grant turned to Emma and Sophia. Girls, can you come back into my office? There's something I need to tell you. They followed him back inside. Principal Grant sat down and folded his hands on his desk. I've completed my preliminary investigation, he said. Here's what's going to happen. Tyler is suspended for 1 week for bullying and physical assault. When he returns, he'll be on probation for the rest of the year. The next morning, Emma woke up with a knot in her stomach. She had to return to school. After everything that happened yesterday, the thought of walking into that building again terrified her. What if people stared at her? What if they blamed her for getting Jake, Madison, and Tyler in trouble? What if more bullies decided to target her? Sophia appeared in her doorway, already dressed for school. Hey, how are you feeling? Scared, Emma admitted. I don't know if I can do this. Sophia sat on the edge of Emma's bed. I understand. But you're not the one who should be scared. They should be scared. You didn't do anything wrong. They're the ones who hurt you. They're the ones who cheated and lied and bullied people. I know, but knowing that doesn't make walking through those doors any easier. Then we'll walk through them together, Sophia said firmly. Like always. Their mother drove them to school again. As they pulled into the parking lot, Emma saw groups of students gathered outside the entrance. Her heart sank. They were probably talking about her, about what happened, about the video, but as Emma and Sophia got out of the car, something unexpected happened. A girl from Emma's English class walked up to them. It was Hannah, the blonde girl who had been friendly on Emma's first day. Emma, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry about what happened yesterday, Hannah said. I should have been sitting with you at lunch. Maybe if more people were around, those three wouldn't have done what they did. It's not your fault, Emma said. Still, I'm sorry. And if you want to sit with me and my friends at lunch today, you're more than welcome. We'll make sure nothing like that happens again. Before Emma could respond, 2 more students approached. They were boys from her math class. Hey, Emma, one of them said. We heard about what Jake and his friends did. That was messed up. If you need anything, let us know. Thanks, Emma said, surprised. More students came over. Some apologized for not helping when she fell. Others offered to walk with her between classes. A girl Emma had never met said she had a cousin in a wheelchair, and she understood how hard it could be when people were cruel. By the time they reached the school entrance, Emma had received support from more than a dozen students. Her fear started to fade, replaced by a warm feeling of acceptance. Inside the school, the atmosphere was different from yesterday. Students who had ignored Emma's existence now smiled at her in the hallways. Teachers who didn't know her name went out of their way to introduce themselves. Mr. Chen stopped her in the hallway to check how she was doing. You're a brave young woman, Emma, he said. What happened to you shouldn't have happened, but the way you handled it was impressive. I didn't really handle it, Emma said. My sister did everything. You survived it, Mr. Chen corrected. That takes strength, and you chose to come back today instead of running away. That takes even more strength. At 8 o'clock, an announcement came over the school speakers. All students and staff, please report to the auditorium for a mandatory assembly. Classes will resume after the assembly. Emma and Sophia joined the stream of students heading to the auditorium. The large room filled up quickly. Emma positioned her wheelchair at the end of a row near the back, with Sophia sitting beside her. Jessica and Amy, the girls from lunch yesterday, spotted them and came over to sit with them. How are you doing? Jessica asked Emma. Better than yesterday, Emma said honestly. Good. Those 3 got what they deserved, Amy said. Everyone's talking about it. Jake got kicked off the football team. Madison lost her position, and Tyler got suspended even though his uncle is the principal. It's crazy, Jessica added. They were like royalty in this school. Now they're nobodies. The lights dimmed and Principal Grant walked onto the stage. The auditorium went quiet. Every student was curious about what he would say. Good morning, Principal Grant began. His voice was serious. I've called this assembly to address what happened in our school yesterday. Many of you witnessed an incident in the cafeteria. A student was hurt, both physically and emotionally, by 3 other students. What happened was unacceptable. It was cruel. It was deliberate, and it will not be tolerated at Lincoln High School. The auditorium remained silent. Students shifted in their seats listening. Some of you may know that one of the students involved is my nephew, Principal Grant continued. I want to make something very clear. Family relationships do not excuse bad behavior. Every student in this school is held to the same standards. There are no exceptions. When someone breaks the rules, when someone hurts another person, there are consequences. That applies to athletes, student government members, family members of staff, and everyone else. A few students nodded in agreement. Yesterday, Emma Martinez experienced something that no student should ever experience. She was mocked for using a wheelchair. She was deliberately pushed and injured, and many of you stood by and watched it happen. Some of you even recorded it on your phones instead of helping. Emma felt her face get hot. She didn't like being the center of attention. I'm not here to shame anyone, Principal Grant said, but I am here to remind you that we are a community. When one person is hurt, we all have a responsibility to help. When we see bullying, we have a responsibility to report it. When we see injustice, we have a responsibility to speak up. He paused and looked out at the sea of faces. Lincoln High School has a zero-tolerance policy on bullying. That policy applies to physical bullying, verbal bullying, and cyberbullying. It applies to everyone. Moving forward, I expect every single person in this school to treat their fellow students with respect and dignity. Let me also address something else. Principal Grant continued. Students with disabilities are not burdens. They are not obstacles. They are not problems to be solved. They are people. They deserve the same respect, the same opportunities, and the same kindness as everyone else. Emma Martinez has just as much right to be in our cafeteria, our hallways, and our classrooms as any other student. Anyone who thinks otherwise can come talk to me personally, and I'll be happy to explain why they're wrong. Several students started clapping. The applause grew until most of the auditorium was clapping. Emma felt tears in her eyes, but these were good tears. Finally, I want to thank the students who did help yesterday, Principal Grant said. Mr. Chen tells me that 2 students, Jessica Park and Amy Liu, tried to defend Emma before she was hurt. They showed courage and compassion. That's what I want to see more of in this school. Jessica and Amy looked at each other in surprise. Students around them patted them on the back. The students involved in yesterday's incident have been disciplined, Principal Grant said. They will not be returning to school for several days. When they do return, they will be on strict probation. I've also instructed all teachers to watch for signs of bullying and to report it immediately. We're creating an anonymous reporting system where students can report bullying safely without fear of retaliation. He looked directly toward the section where Emma was sitting, though Emma wasn't sure if he could actually see her in the dark auditorium. Emma, if you're listening, I want you to know that this school failed you on your first day. We failed to protect you. We failed to create an environment where you felt safe. But that changes now. You belong here, and we're going to make sure you never have to experience anything like that again. The applause returned, even louder than before. Students around Emma were clapping and looking at her with supportive smiles. Sophia grabbed her hand and squeezed it. This assembly is over, Principal Grant said. Go to your classes. Treat each other with kindness. And remember, we're all in this together. As students filed out of the auditorium, many of them stopped to speak with Emma. Some thanked her for being brave. Others apologized again for not helping. A few asked if they could be her friend. Emma was overwhelmed by the positive attention, but in a good way. In first period English, Mrs. Walker made a point of talking about empathy and standing up for others. She didn't mention Emma by name, but everyone knew what she was referring to. At the end of class, 3 students asked Emma if she wanted to join their study group. Second period history was better too. The teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, had rearranged the classroom to make sure Emma had plenty of space to move around comfortably. He also assigned a project about civil rights heroes, and Emma was excited to participate. But lunchtime was what Emma was most nervous about. Yesterday, lunch had been a disaster. Today, she didn't know what to expect. Sophia walked with her to the cafeteria. Remember, Hannah said you could sit with her group. I know. I'm just nervous, don't be. Everyone's on your side now. When they entered the cafeteria, Emma noticed that Jake, Madison, and Tyler were nowhere to be seen. They were all still suspended. Their usual table in the center of the cafeteria was empty. Hannah waved at Emma from across the room. Emma, Sophia, over here. Emma and Sophia made their way to Hannah's table. There were already 6 students sitting there, and they all greeted Emma warmly. They made space for her wheelchair, and included her in their conversation like she had always been part of their group. Jessica and Amy joined them a few minutes later. Soon the table was full of friendly, welcoming students. Emma couldn't believe how different this was from yesterday. "So Emma," one of Hannah's friends said, "what clubs are you thinking about joining?"